the new BMW M5 is probably the most controversial M car that BMW have ever made. It's a hybrid and it's heavy. But should we all just stop moaning about it and actually enjoy it for what it is? Or should we forget all that and stick to what we know? One of those. Come on!
We're going to drive both cars on the road to see which is worth spending six figures on. Is the technology in the hybrid M5 worth it, or should we stick with the internal combustion engined Audi? To find out, we'll start on the new M5, which as spec'd here costs £132,000.
We've probably got to address the very heavy elephant in the room, its weight. 2,435 kilograms is the official figure. Put someone in it, a bit of lunch, a bit of fuel, a bit of washer fluid, and you got 2.5 tons, which is nuts for an M5. And when it came out and they released that figures, everyone was understandably not happy. But the thing is, on the road, you do not feel the weight of the car. I've had this car for a week. I've been lucky enough to have it for a week. Not at one point during that week, driving on the motorway, around town, on B roads, driving spiritedly, have I ever felt that the car weighs 2.5 tons. This one's got the carbon ceramic brakes, so the brakes always feel great. And never have I thought, oh, it doesn't change direction very well, or it doesn't feel very agile, or it feels like a heavy lump, because on the road, you just don't feel it. Okay, it means that your tyres have to work harder and your brakes are going to have to work harder, but I think BMW have done an amazing job at hiding all that extra weight, and it is a lot of extra weight. And then there's the other elephant in the room, the hybrid system. No one really wants a hybrid car. You want your M5. I want my M5s to be out and out performance cars with a big loud V8 and nothing else. But the fact is, hybrids are the way stuff has to go. And we should be grateful that BMW have kept the V8 and combined it with their hybrid system. So 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 on its own, about 585 horsepower. The 18 kilowatt hour battery gives it another 200 horsepower, but combined at their peak, 720 horsepower, which is nuts. And the way it gathers speed at any revs when the engine's on is just insane. You breathe on the throttle, on the motorway, on a B road, on a dual carriageway, you breathe on it and you take off. And actually, even in electric only mode, when it's got 200 horsepower, it pulls fairly well. And I absolutely love being able to get in the car early in the morning at 6:30 in a quiet little village where I now live and start in electric mode, like now. I think that's great, and that's the way all cars are going to be in the future, and there's nothing wrong with that. One thing I will say is that there are far too many setup options in this car. So you press setup and you can configure all of the individual parameters. You can configure drivetrain, energy recoveries, drive logic, so how savage the shifts are. You've got chassis, so suspension, you've got steering feel, you've got brake feel, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive sport, sound. Then you can configure M1 and M2. Then you've got the M hybrid settings. Then you've got M mode. It's too much. It took me so long to get my head around all this. Just want it to be a bit more simple, a bit more pared down. So that's all the techie stuff and all the elephants out the way. What's it actually like to drive? Well, this is a pretty tight technical little B road. And at the moment, I've got everything in comfort, including the suspension. And for our roads, even in comfort, the ride is just a bit too stiff. But the way it gathers speed, mind-blowing. When that motor and the battery combine, you actually appreciate having four-wheel drive. And the grip, so this is on Pirelli P0Rs. The grip from the four-wheel drive system, it's always there. It is a big car though. This isn't a wide road, and you're always very conscious of the size of the thing. Width is one thing, but it's so long, like it literally doesn't fit in any normal parking space. If there's two parking spaces end to end, you're always taking up a bit of one or the other. So I've configured M1, you can configure M1 and M2. I put M1 in like a halfway house sporty mode. It's so fast. I can't tell you how fast it is. It's ridiculous. Like too fast for the road. You can't use the performance whilst being a well-behaved, legal, law-abiding citizen. It's not possible. But then what do you expect with a car with over 700 horsepower? But like on this road that's super tight and super twisty, does it feel 2.5 tons? Not at all. I know it's a number on a piece of paper, but it's really not an issue. M2, I've set up for everything to be in max. So Sport Plus, you've got to press it twice to say, yes, I want to activate it. I've also set it up to have the DSC off and the four-wheel drive system disengaged, so it's in rear-wheel drive only, which I'll be honest, is pretty pointless on the roads, because when you do that and you're at low speeds, the car becomes an absolute animal and is a ridiculous thing to need to do on the road. Look, it just wants to go. You just breathe on the throttle and back end says, "Guten Tag, I'm coming round." Madness, absolute madness. The 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds is a few tenths slower than the old car. And obviously it feels nuts how fast it is off the line, but producing a new M5 that's slower to 60 than the old one, that doesn't feel right, does it? It feels like if they're progressing in terms of power and efficiency, they should also progress with performance numbers, but can't win them all. That's what comes with being the extra weight. It does make a good noise, I will admit that. There you go, back end comes out, see you later. That's spinning, that was spinning all the way up to 60. Brakes feel great, never let you down. Still spinning, still spinning. Oh my God, it is ridiculous. It is savage in this mode. You can't drive like this normally because you have no tyres left, you have no fuel left, and you will eventually have a minor accident, which is a shame because that means you put it back in one of the comfier modes, you take it out of M1 or M2, and then I feel like you're in the mode where this car does what it does best. Like, it's so capable and it's so comfortable and it's so usable as an everyday car, and the hybrid system is so nice when the engine turns off and you're in a little village and it goes quiet again, that it doesn't really encourage you to drive it hard, which is what an M5 should do. And here's the thing, I've had the car for about a week now, and I had it delivered, I took it for a quick spin just to get used to it, and I parked it up outside my house. And I was sat at home in the evening, I had the keys, and I didn't really have the urge to just go for a drive in it. Because it just does everything normal so well, I feel like there's a little bit of engagement that is missing from this car. It will do 35 mpg on most combined runs using a bit of hybrid, so it's not bad on fuel. If you're doing short runs, you don't ever have to turn the engine on, you leave it in electric, infinite mpg. But an M5 should encourage you to drive, shouldn't it? And because the limits are now so high and performance is so ridiculous, to drive to a level where you can enjoy it, you've got to be an absolute nutter.
So how does the M5 stack up against the RS6 GT? This limited edition model costs £177,000, but it has the same 4-litre V8 found in the stock RS6, which produces 621 horsepower. It weighs 2,075 kilos and does 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, 2 tenths faster than the M5. Racing.
So the RS6, the first thing you notice when you get in it and you start it up, the noise, the start-up noise. That is how a V8 should sound. So this is the GT. They only made 660 of these, and I think about 60 came to the UK, and this is the second to last one that was ever made. This is one that's obviously got the very Larry IMSA-inspired paint job, which I absolutely love. I think the car looks incredible, and it's got so much presence on the road. In the M5, especially in that quite fairly subtle dark red, no one really looks twice at your car. They think, oh, it's just someone else in another executive saloon. In this thing, everyone looks at you, and for good reason. It's a white car with red and black stickers on it and massive white wheels. The ride is actually not bad. It's got a bit of a higher frequency harshness to it than the M5, which is the first thing you notice when you jump in it. So the M5, even though I said that is quite firm, this feels a little harsher, but this is a much more limited edition with more bespoke suspension, so it's kind of to be expected. It's not a horrible ride, it's not a crashy ride at all, but the car feels very, very flat. The dash, the interior, it's Audi, isn't it? I think the new BMWs have done a much better job of making it feel like a modern place to be. These Audi dashes, I think now they feel like they're getting on a little bit, but I've got actual buttons. Everything in the M5 is either a touch button or that weird kind of strange haptic thing that you push but don't push down there. In the RS6, well, you can do your drive select, so you can put it in efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic, and then you can select RS1 or RS2, which are both configurable. So you can set the drive system to 3 different modes, the steering feel, the engine sound, and the Quattro Sport Diff, which is currently in dynamic mode. So in dynamic mode, it can send up to 85% of power to the rear. And that's pretty much it. There's no hybrid modes to deal with. There's no like additional M mode or RS mode where you have to select what level of assistance you do or don't want. So I prefer it for having a much simpler and more intuitive kind of interface in setting the car up for how you want it. So what happens on this bumpy, twisty but fun B road if we do put it in one of those other modes? Let's try RS1. So now it's in manual. Exhaust note straight away got a lot louder. And what an exhaust note it is. Oh my God, the thrust and the noise it makes when you put your foot down. That is how a V8 should sound. It is interesting, coming from the M5 with its hybrid, you do notice the slight difference in the initial reaction when you put your foot down. There's just that momentary hesitation as the twin turbos and this spool up without any assistance from Mr. Electricity. But that feels traditional. It feels like what you're used to. It feels like a little bit of good old-fashioned turbo lag, which, ooh, bit of a jump, which cars like the M5 just have completely eradicated. And the steering's got a nice feel to it, and the steering wheel is so much thinner. I hate the big fat steering wheel on the Beamer. They've done a pretty good job in BMW of getting rid of buttons from the wheel, but it's too fat. This has got a really nice thin rim, if you know what I mean. RS2, there we go, give us a bit more. ESC in sport mode. Sport mode, I put it in sport mode. Got to go there fast, put it in sport mode, pop and bang map you need. Quick launch, why not, ready? Oh, the noise, it is so fast off the line, oh my days. And you know what, it just encourages you to drive it. And when you're up and running and when you're moving, it doesn't feel any slower than the M5. The only difference is that slight momentary delay as the turbos spool up. That's the only difference. Oh, it's a very nice car. Like, you genuinely feel like you're in something special in this car. Knock it down a gear. The noise! And the thrust! Oh, it feels so quick. Oh, little pops and bangs. I like this car a lot. I'm a BMW fanboy. I can't prefer an RS6. Surely not. This is a special car. It makes you feel special, drives special. I'm not a massive fan of Audi's interiors. I think compared to the M5, this feels a little old school now. But the way it drives, the way it makes you feel, the way it sounds, it's a proper V8 grown-up, exciting car to drive. And I hate to say it, as an owner of numerous BMWs, as an owner of an E36 M3, which I've had for 10 years, I hate to say it, I think I'd have this over the M5.
To see just how fast the acceleration feels in the M5, I put our videographer Matt in the passenger seat to see if he could hold his camera steady when I launched it.
Hello, Matt.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Matt is our illustrious photographer, videographer extraordinaire, and we are going to see how steady you can hold your shot during launch control in both cars. So first of all, we'll do it in the M5. So the M5's got a quoted 0-60 of 3.5, which is actually slower than the old one. To get it in launch control, I've got to press about 1 million buttons. Yeah, launch control active.
Nice.
Are you ready?
See if we can keep this steady.
Are you confident?
No.
No, me neither. Right, ready?
3, 2, 1, go. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Woo. That really goes.
And that is exactly 60 miles an hour, no more at all, officer.
No, not at all. Well, I think image stabilisation definitely had to help there. We'll see how that looks.
I think your human stabilisation was not adequate.
Time to put Matt back in the passenger seat to see how the launch control feels in the RS6.
Same again. In the RS6, you're feeling more or less confident.
I feel like I'm ready, more prepared for it this time.
Braced.
I'm braced.
So this, it has an even quicker 0-60, 3.3 apparently. Right foot on the gas. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you steady?
I think so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right.
3, 2, 1, go for it. Go for it. Jesus, that is so much harder. Oh my God. Those gear changes are ridiculous.
And that's 60.
Yeah, I think that's a bit shakier.
Yeah, I think so. So what does that mean? I think that means that the M5 is an amazing car. If I was looking for something that would be engaging and I'd want to go for a rip-in, I'll probably jump in that Audi.